Hi, I'm Tom Lydon, editor of ETF Trends, here in Orlando, Florida at the TD Ameritrade Institutional Conference. And I'm here with Marie Dzanis, who's the head of sales and servicing at FlexShares. Marie, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And it's good to see you again. As many of our viewers know, FlexShares, innovative ETF provider, but it's not just ETFs that you folks concentrate on. You're really caring about advisors, and I know today you're going to be talking about advisor segmentation and the importance of understanding your audience. Can you maybe touch base on some of the things that you'll be sharing with advisors today?
We're doing a focus today, Tom, on engaging female clients. And we're going to talk about the types of investment conversations that you need to have with them, thinking about the segment that's relevant and how to have those best conversations, and then also to develop a communication plan so you can best serve those clients.
So all clients aren't treated equal, right? It's important to really understand who you're talking about. Give us some examples.
Yes, men and women think about risk generally very differently. The architects of their brain are different, and in fact complementary. So for example, women tend to define investing in terms of life preservation. Can I meet my goals? Can I take care of my needs? Men tend to think generally around investing in terms of winning, which is a very different outcome. So it's important to have really good conversations that involve clarity and transparency. And that's where ETFs in my business is particularly interesting, to have a clear, transparent understanding of what's in a portfolio and have the appropriate dialogue because there can be consequences.
So for men, and we were talking earlier, growth and goals and rolling the dice are things that they think about a little bit more. For women, it's safety, right?
And you need to establish a baseline conversation.
Yeah.
But I think the challenge is advisors don't know how to strike that right balance. And so by asking what is your baseline knowledge of investing is important. You know, I have an example of years ago, and I'm in the ETF business for a long time, where somebody actually told me that they're going to put an ETF in my portfolio. Had they asked me what my knowledge was and my base was, that would have been much more appropriate. So women tend to refer business 4 times more likely than men. And so imagine the consequences if you don't get these conversations right.
And you usually only get one chance, right?
That's correct.
So what you're saying is, don't be afraid on the first conversation to say things like, how would you like this conversation to go, or how would you like me to communicate with you? Things like that, right?
And especially if you come from a background in portfolio management, you might be more inclined to talk in terms of risk or standard deviation in the portfolio. So it's really important to say, what is your level of comfortability, and quickly adjust. Yeah,
what would you like to get out of this? Ultimately, what are your goals? Things like that. And it's funny, sometimes those of us in the business, especially when we're talking with others in the business, we start out at this level rather than really creating some type of platform or base, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Additionally, with the conversation, you should establish a communication plan with your clients. So if it's a new client, it's a lot easier to do this. But what I find is advisors generally have a hard time going back to somebody and saying, maybe I didn't get the conversations correctly with you. So one piece of advice that I've heard as a best practice is a number of advisors they'll establish, particularly now, at the beginning of the year, a conversation plan saying, I'm going to do educational segments, I'm going to do quarterly reviews with you, I'm going to have multiple touches. How often would you like to have a conversation with me, and in what method? Over the phone, email, or in person?
That's a great idea. So it's not, what are my investment goals alone, it's what are my communication goals as well?
The whole outcome is important, and that aligns with the way we think about investments.
You've written a white paper about this?
I have. So we have segmentation and the thought process on how to have the generational approach coincide with their lifestyles. So to get that, you can go on flexshares.com.
Great, and I know we're going to have a link directly on this video as well. Marie, thanks for carving out some time. Great seeing you.
You too. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks.